A reading from the first book of Kings. At the mountain of God, Horeb, Elijah came to a cave where he took shelter. But the word of the Lord came to him. Go outside and stand on the mountain before the Lord. The Lord will be passing by. A strong and heavy wind was rending the mountains and crushing rocks before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind. After the wind, there was an earthquake. But the Lord was not in the earthquake. After the earthquake, there was fire. But the Lord was not in the fire. After the fire, there was a tiny whispering sound. When he heard this, Elijah hid his face in his cloak and went and stood at the entrance of the cave. A voice said to him, Elijah, why are you here? He replied, I have been most zealous for the Lord, the God of hosts. But the children of Israel have forsaken your covenant, torn down your altars, and put your prophets to the sword. I alone am left, and they seek to take my life. The Lord said to him, Go, take the road back to the desert near Damascus. When you arrive, you shall anoint Hazael as king of Aram. Then you shall appoint Jehu, son of Nimshi, as king of Israel, and Elijah, son of Shaphat of Abi-Meholah, as prophet to succeed you. The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
Responsorial Psalm. I long to see your face, O Lord.
I long to see your face, O Lord.
Hear, O Lord, the sound of my call. Have pity on me and answer me. Of you my heart speaks. You my glance seeks.
I long to see your face, O Lord.
Your presence, O Lord, I seek. Hide not your face from me. Do not in anger repel your servant. You are my helper. Cast me not off.
I long to see your face, O Lord.
I believe that I shall see the bounty of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait for the Lord with courage. Be stout-hearted. Wait for the Lord.
I long to see your face, O Lord. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. Matthew. Jesus said to his disciples, You've heard that it was said, You shall not commit adultery. But I say to you, everyone who looks at a woman with lust has already committed adultery with her in his heart. If your right eye causes you to sin, tear it out, throw it away. It is better for you to lose one of your members than to have your whole body thrown into Gehenna. And if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off and throw it away. It is better for you to lose one of your members than to have your whole body go into Gehenna. It was also said, Whoever divorces his wife, he must give her a bill of divorce. But I say to you, whoever divorces his wife, unless the marriage is unlawful, causes her to commit adultery. And whoever marries a divorced woman commits adultery. The Gospel of the Lord. In our first reading today, we see how Elijah recognizes the presence of God in the quiet whispering sound, or in some translations, it's the still small voice. That's important for us, because if Elijah has a call, and you'll notice that as soon as he recognizes that voice, he comes and stands at the mouth of the cave and is given tasks. It's the purpose of being called, to be given tasks. So all of us, one way or another, are called. And the great thing about somebody like St. Anthony of Padua is that he is a preacher. What's his purpose? Well, to help people hear the call. And that's the purpose of any preacher. When somebody as great as St. Anthony of Padua, any of the rest of us up here who are priests, our purpose is singular. It is to help people hear the call of the Lord and then to respond to it. Nothing more, really, nothing less. And the trouble with it is that it is so often a still small voice, a quiet whispering sound. So there has to be tremendous attention paid to the presence of the call, because it is easy not to hear it, especially in the cacophony of the world that we have now, with all of its distractions and whatnot. Very, very hard to focus. And so, in reflecting on the call, I'll open up my little pad here. One of the books that I'm reading is by the Jesuit priest James Martin, and it's Jesus and it's a pilgrimage. He's going throughout the Holy Land with a Jesuit friend of his and writing and reflecting on various passages of the gospel as he's at the places where those gospel scenes took place. This is in the section where he talks about the call of the first apostles along the coast of the Sea of Galilee. And because it's talking about call, this is what he writes. We need to listen carefully for those calls and not grow so entangled in our daily lives that we miss them. An open and attentive stance will help us hear better and make it less likely that we block out God's voice. What if Peter and Andrew and James and John had been closed-minded or too busy to listen to Jesus? There are many ways of being called. Many people think that being called means hearing voices, or they may feel that since they have never had a knock-me-off-my-feet spiritual experience, they've not been called. But often being called, as one of his friends says, it can be more subtle. It can manifest itself as a strong desire, a fierce attraction, or even an impulse to leave something behind. How we listen is critically important. The job of St. Anthony of Padua, with a lot of fire and brimstone, the job of me or any other priest in this area, a lot less over the top maybe, is nevertheless just to help people listen, to hear the call wherever the Lord leads us. And the Lord doesn't have to lead every single one of us into the convent or the monastery, but the Lord leads us where we need to be, and we need to pray just for the openness to take the time to listen, to hear that call, and then to be able to say, "Yes, Lord, send me." Let us stand and pray.